وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. The title, as you see on the screen, was Muhammad ibn Abdullah, a man from paradise. هل كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رجل من الجنة? So I'm going to ask you. Can you read it in Arabic? Don't answer. No? Okay, you can't answer then. I texted in Arabic, so yes or no? If yes, why? If no, so why he was acting different than all Muslims at the time? In many ways, not always.
I would say no, he wasn't. The Quran said that he's like a bashar, like yourself. The
All
Quran
people
said,
in Jannah are Bashar.
well, in that,
You said that because he was Bashar, Allah said in the Quran.
yeah,
You mean that
like
إنما أنا
mithlun,
بشر مثلكم, you mean the
mithlun,
ayah
yeah. So
in Surah
mithlakum is
Al-Kahf.
like yourself.
I'm a human like you,
Yeah,
but يوحى إلي.
yeah,
Yeah, I receive a revelation.
yeah. So if we are all from Jannah, then he is from Jannah. If we are not from Jannah,
But
then
not
he is
because
not
he is
from Jannah.
Bashar. Because all people in Jannah will be Bashar. There will be Jinn in Jannah as well.
I mean, that's how you put it as. I mean, in what context you're asking? So
Because Adam from Jannah.
he
He
was
was
from Jannah.
created in Jannah, sent back to earth.
Yeah, means he was from Jannah because Quran says so. So we
So,
expect
Bashar.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but once he's taken
What
out
you
and then
mean, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not physically
was not
come from
from
Jannah
Jannah.
to
Yeah.
earth? Yeah, that's acceptable. Yeah, he was born in Mecca from Amina and Abdullah. Yeah. Any other person would say yes or no? Was he? What I'm looking at, what are the characters of people in Jannah? And did he have these characters or not? This is exactly what I was trying to ex explain. So, saying this, that there is people in Jannah will have A, B, C, D, E. Brother Khwan, there's a three here. There's some in the room as well. Must be hidden somewhere. Inshallah, Jazakallah khair. Yes, Brother Riza Ahmed. You have to. No, you are in Jannah now. How would you, what the things you will be able to do in Jannah? Like what? I missed that. Play all day? Play Nintendo, you mean, and golf.
Oh, I mean, one of the things which we know from Hadith that there were, I mean, some physical characteristics that there will be that tall, all of the people,
Yeah,
they won't
tall.
age, they won't get old,
They will not grow old.
they won't get hungry,
They will not get hungry.
they won't get fill either. So if they
They will not.
want to eat, they won't get fill. So
They
if they
don't
want
get
to eat,
ill.
and they won't get full.
They don't get full. Eat
Yeah.
as much as they want. They don't get full. Yeah, we have. Yeah, the old age of 30. They will not grow older. Yes. Yeah. Any more, Anne? Any more?
They won't die.
They will not die. Right. They don't go to toilet and yeah, defecate. They don't vomit. Yeah. They don't sweat and yeah. You actually mentioned things is not in the presentation. I must write it down. Um, the yeah, the sweat. Um, what else? Yeah, these are not in the presentation. Good. Um, right. Talha, you just come. So, what are the characters of people in Jannah, and which one Prophet Muhammad? Oh, you read the Arabic, didn't you? Did you read the Arabic text from me? We do. If you haven't, then yeah, try to answer. What characters of people in Jannah have, and which one the Prophet ﷺ had, so we could say that yes, he was a man from Jannah. They're all, you mean, they're all Sadiq, they're all telling the truth in Jannah. They're all, we're not saying to go to Jannah, we're saying you are in Jannah now. You are in Jannah, what things, like what they say, you don't die, you don't eat, you don't drink, you don't sweat, yeah, already in Jannah. And when you look at the Prophet ﷺ, say, oh, he must be coming, he came from Jannah because this is what his characters are.
That means that I think it probably won't get sleepy.
Yeah, you don't sleep in Jannah. Yeah, you don't get tired. Yeah, very good. You don't get thirsty. Yeah, you are on the ball. You get what you want. Yeah, food on demand. Exactly. So we'll go through it and say then is he from Jannah or not? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So no sleep in Jannah. You don't sleep in Jannah. And the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam never slept. He said, "Tanamu ayni wa la yanamu qalbi." My eyes are closed, but my heart is awake. He doesn't sleep. So he's always with Allah Azza wa Jal, day and night. So تنام عيني ولا ينام قلبي. My eyes sleep, closed, but my heart is awake. My conscience is awake. I am all with it. Like you are, when you sleep on and off, we become semi-conscious or conscious and then go to sleep again. Depends on the phases of sleep. You have 4 phases of sleep: deep sleep and light sleep and rapid eye movement sleep and these sort of things. So he has one, first one. No eating or drinking in Jannah, you said it. And the Prophet ﷺ was fasting for 2 months in a row. And they tried to copy him, and he said, no, you're not allowed. Because he said, إياكم والوصال إياكم والوصال twice. قالوا فإنك تواصل يا رسول الله. Never ever continuously fast. Never ever continuously fast. They said, but you do it, O Messenger of Allah. He said, I'm not like you. I sleep and my Lord feed me and give me drink. يطعمني ويسقيني. So if you have a man who's 2 months no food, no drink, I fasted 5 days on water only, and then I went to do shopping and I started getting cold sweat. Became hypoglycemic because the energy I was putting, my body did not generate enough glucose to feed me. So I said, no, I'll break the fast then, because I haven't got enough enzymes to quickly take the food, the sugar from the storage and use it, put it in circulation. But somebody to fast for 40 days, no food, no drink, Allah feed them. That's in Jannah. You eat and drink because of entertainment, of enjoying the food and drink. Unlimited sexual power. That's in Jannah. And the Prophet ﷺ, with the hadith, كان يطوف على نسائه بغسل واحد. He goes and stays, sleep with his wives, all of them, one ghusl. And the other hadith, كان يدور على نسائه in 1 hour, 10 women. So find me one in this life. There will be a lot of liars, obviously, claiming, but to find one doesn't exist. This is why you could have 70 huriya in Jannah. So you will have that unlimited. And this is why Allah Azza wa Jalla, the second one, gave him unlimited number of wives. As if he's in Jannah and already given the rewards that you can have as many huriya, as many women in Jannah. And the ayah is quite clear. يا أيها النبي إنا أحللنا لك أزواجك اللاتي آتيت أجورهن وما ملكت يمينك ومما أفاء الله عليك وبنات عمك وبنات عماتك وبنات خالك وبنات خالاتك اللاتي هاجرن معك وامرأة مؤمنة إن وهبت نفسها للنبي إن أراد النبي أن يستنكحها خالصة لك من دون المؤمنين. Only him was singled out by having the right to marry any woman, first cousin, or a Muslim woman who gave herself in marriage to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and any woman he gained from the spoils, ma malakat yaminuka, at that time was allowed. Where will they go? There's no social service. There's no women refuge. They get, admitted as a wife to the houses, not a legal wife, as a right hand possessed. So, so he could have married 20, 30, 40, 50. He's already in Jannah. He's already rewarded for his obedience to Allah, for his devotion to Allah, for him remembering Allah all the time, serving Allah Azza wa Jal. So here you are. You don't need to go to Jannah to get it. You can get it from now. And permission from Allah. Allah married him to Zainab. فلما قضى زيد منها وطرا زوجناكها. When Zayd divorced Zainab, his cousin, Allah married him Zainab, and he walked into the house. He said, "I'm your husband. Allah married me to you. That's it. No, no wali, no request from anybody to marry her. Allah married him to him, married her to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you have the power already. You're not going to deprive them. If 1 hour is enough for all of them, it's amazing, amazing power. It's man from Jannah, but he is actually yet to go to Jannah. He went to Jannah in Isra and Mi'raj. He went to Jannah, and he saw what's in Jannah. And he said to Umar ibn Khattab, if I want to tell you, because I asked him, can you tell us about things you saw in Jannah? He said, if I start telling you, it will be 1,000 years, and still haven't told you what's in Jannah. And he didn't go there for more than hours. So he crossed the time as well. The time is squeezed. So it was no time for him, and he saw everything in very short time. Now,
I mean, I can see your point logically, what you're saying. I'm not sure if that's the best way of looking at it, if you know what I mean. So, because that's something which um, people from all these Orientalists use against him. That so I don't think there was a reward to Prophet Sallallahu the multiple wives. I think it was for all of those marriages were for a particular reason. There was
notice the ayah is very clear. خالصة لك من دون النساء من دون المؤمنين. This rule is only to you.
no, that's true.
And
I'm
Abu
not.
Bakr wasn't less, he was obviously not the level of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he was very high level, but only for.
No, I'm not talking about his permission. I'm talking about his reasoning.
They were reasoning for
Yeah.
marrying.
So saying that it was
Yeah,
a reward
but
from.
imagine any of us. I mean, I don't know about Henry the seventh. Yeah, he had 7 wives or 6. Henry the eighth. Sorry. Oh, he was 7, became 8. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know whether he can in 1 hour move around the 7 houses or something. So what we're saying that he has been given the power singled out without even marrying. He has that power and the sexual power. I mean, and he has been given permission to have unlimited number of wives until he was 60. Then he was banned from marrying anymore. He said, لا يحل لك النساء من بعد ولا أن تستبدل أزواجا غيرهن ولو أعجبك حسنهن. You can't marry anymore. It's all directed by Allah. Why He allowed him unlimited and then He banned him? It became worse than the rest of the believers. Because if he divorced them, he can't marry anymore. He can't replace them. So any one of us can divorce and marry, unlimited. But he at that age, because Allah Azza wa Jal is directing him at this stage. He's 60 now, coming back to me, no more getting married and things. And Allah aware, and Allah is the most wise. Obviously, it doesn't mean you want to marry a woman and then die next day. My one of my uncles, he married a woman. He was 73 and he died next year. She had a baby whose his brothers, started looking after. It wasn't a wise move from him. So Allah stopped the Prophet. Obviously, there were no children for the Prophet to worry about, that he didn't want him to marry from age 60. But it is what I'm trying to get to is that a lot of things, it was a reward from Allah Azza wa Jal. and no reason given, just because you are devoted to Allah. When Aisha asked him, she said, "Oh, Allah will allow you to do whatever you want, will not stop you doing whatever you want." He said, "Be with Allah as I am with Allah, He will be with you as He is with me." Many of us actually, when it comes to spending, going out, doing things, Corona, and lockdown and infection. You don't want me to die, do you? I'm asthmatic. I'm hypertension, so I shouldn't go out of the house. Um, so uh, in Jannah, um, you won't be any foul language. There's no any misbehavior. There's nothing you do in Jannah which annoy anybody. And the Prophet ﷺ was like this in this world. And who gave him the stamp of approval? Allah Azza wa وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Great manner, great behavior, major contact. So that was a man from Jannah walking on earth. Didn't come from Jannah, born in Mecca. And we'll come towards the end, we'll put things obviously in the right perspective. Mighty physical power in Jannah. You wouldn't get tired, one of you mentioned it. And the strongest man in the Arabian Peninsula was, um, his name is Ali, um, and Abi Ja'far ibn Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Rukana, and Abihi, Rukana. So Rukana was the most powerful person in the Arabian Peninsula. And he came and he wanted to wrestle with the Prophet ﷺ. And he said, "If I defeat you, will you become Muslim?" He said, "Yes." And he defeated him the first time, the second time, and the third time. So nothing stopped him. He would be the most energetic while everybody else is asleep. He would stand up and pray the rak'ah, and he read Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, and Nisa in one rak'ah. And he make ruku', stay in ruku' as long as the standing was. I mean, which one of us can do that? And and then he makes sujood as long as the ruku' was. I said to brother Husni one day, when you hear people coming, you'd like to delay your prayer till they join the prayer, but try not to delay the ruku', because ruku' is really painful for many people. Just so stress on your knees and things. And he was known of his you know power, and he will be ahead of everybody. When Amal ibn Abi Talib, he said, when the war gets really tough, we hide behind Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. كنا نحتمي برسول الله. We hide behind him. Why? Because we know he's the strongest. So this is a man from Jannah will have that. So fast. It's so fast. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they heard a noise in Medina, and all the Muslims came out to find out what was it, and was the Prophet was coming back. Already went. So what was it? And he came back saying, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. La tura'u." And he was riding a horse without a saddle. It's not easy. I haven't ridden a horse without a saddle or with saddle. But people who ride horses, they know you need the saddle, because that's what holds you on, and you can grasp the horse and things, um, and then you don't get really sore bottom and things. And the Prophet ﷺ was coming back, already been and come back. So what fast, how speed was he? And this is, his body is able to travel in that speed because he had that heart operation before Isra and Mi'raj, and he had one when he was toddler. So he went through some operations. We don't know what they took out of his body, because he stood the journey from Mecca to Jerusalem and back, and from Jerusalem to the seven heavens and back. And you can't stand that even if you are light. It takes time. So fast, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Water and milk and food multiply automatically when he touches. That's in Jannah. One of you mentioned it. And the food will multiply. You take the grape and there's a grape replaced. You take the apple replaced. You take the milk replaced. So this is what happened many, many times. The Prophet ﷺ, he put his hand in the water, and the water started gushing. And the whole army filled their containers, had a wash, and they gave drink to their horses and camels, and still the water gushing out of his hand. Didn't happen to Musa. Musa, you need the stone. All the prophets, the mu'jiza, if you see it, it's like a phenomena happened in front of them. The Prophet ﷺ Allah split the moon for him. But these actually things physically happening in front of their eyes. I think Isa was able to generate food, is it? I can't remember. Isa?
Well, they say that he turned water into wine and all of those things.
I don't believe the wine one.
So,
Without alcohol, probably. Yeah, fed 5,000. Yeah. But that's a man from Jannah.
sorry, I'm kind of jumping in again. Again, with these things, I mean, if we talk it like this, I agree with what you're saying that he had all these mu'jiza. But mu'jiza, we have to actually relate it back to Allah. That Allah did that. It wasn't Prophet ﷺ who was doing it. It was Allah who was doing it. Yes, he did it through him, but all the mu'jizat are coming from Allah. And he can do it to one of us today.
I mean, Jannah from Allah Azza wa Jal.
Yeah,
When
so
you go
that's
to
why
Jannah, Allah will make things happen to you.
yeah.
But what I'm saying, Allah made things which usually happen in Jannah happen to the Prophet ﷺ before he left this world. Which things we all waiting to go to Jannah to see it happening to us, it was happening to him while in this time. Still hasn't died. So, we mentioned the sweat. In Jannah, you sweat perfume. And the Sahaba said they used to wait when the Prophet ﷺ was asleep, and when he's sweating, they take a little tube or bottle and they scoop all the sweat because it's perfume. And they added to their perfume to make it stronger. So he was smelling perfume, sweating perfume. That happened in Jannah. Or going to the loo. You go to the loo, you need to flush the loo. If you go to the loo, there's nothing to flush. Well, the Sahaba didn't see anything there. He didn't. So what is it? See? What's that in, why we have to wait to Jannah to get this happen to us while the Prophet ﷺ was already happening? To show us Allah Azza wa Jalla an example, this is what will happen to you in Jannah. You don't have to wait till you go to Jannah. See Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that's what will happen to you. That's exactly what you will get. So like Allah Azza wa Jalla giving us a, a living example in front of us on things yet to achieve when we go to Jannah. If we go to Jannah, inshallah, we will all go to Jannah. This is quite a long hadith, and this talk about when he touched the, the, the breast of a goat in Ma'bad when he was going on Hijrah. And she had this very thin goat, and there's no milk in it, there's no meat in it. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Can we milk it?" He said, "Nothing there." And he touched it, and there were milk. All of them drank the milk, and I gave her milk, and she left milk for her husband, which it's the hadith is quite famous because she described the Prophet ﷺ to her husband, a beautiful description. The Sahaba memorized it and they commented it. It was so beautiful description to the Prophet ﷺ. She was so shocked by a man walking in, so nice, so polite, so humble, so holy, and then things start appearing that this man is not like any ordinary man. This man is just holy man. He just that's what. Obviously, in Jannah he will be much higher than all of us in Jannah, and we hope to be his neighbor. And so it's on the milk and water and food. When he invited, when Abdullah, Jabir ibn Abdullah, invited him. This is about the water. Um, عن أنس أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دعا بإناء من ماء فأتي بقدح رحراح فيه شيء من ماء. قدح, a cup of water with some water in it, and he put his fingers in it. And Anas said said, and I've been looking the water coming gushing out of um, the cup from between his fingers. قال أنس فحذرت من توضأ ما بين السبعين إلى الثمانين. 70 to 80 people made wudu out of the water coming out of the cup. So that's what to meet in Jannah. Inshallah, Allah showing us this is example. That's the power of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah Azza wa Jalla will make things automatically happen to you. No, um, nothing you need to do. You don't have to go and dig underground and fetch the water and carry the water, whatever. Just he put his fingers in the water, and the food the same. Um, when he was invited by Jabir ibn Abdullah for in Ghazwat al-Khandaq for a meal, and he said, only me? He said, one or two of your companions. So the Prophet ﷺ announced that all the army invited to Jabir ibn Abdullah's house. So he went terrified to his wife and said, the Prophet, and she cooked only for 3 people. He said, the Prophet invited the army. He said, did you tell him that we only have 2 chickens? He said, yes. He said, don't worry. And that's a lot. Happened many, many, many times. And the armies were coming in 10 by 10 by 10, all eating and full and go. And at the end, he left the 2 chickens just slightly eaten. There's nothing like gone from them. So that's also many documented like this about the food as well. Um, Far-reaching voice to the Prophet ﷺ. When he stood in Hunayn and he tried to rally the army who were terrified of the ambush, and he stood on a high rock and he started calling, Ana Nabi la kadhib, Ana ibn Abd al-Muttalib, and they said, all the Sahaba heard him. They all came back. He managed to rally the army. Abdullah ibn Abbas was walking in Medina, and the Prophet ﷺ was in the mosque telling people to sit down. And he sat down in the market. They said, why you sit down? He said, the Prophet said. So all the market were hearing the Prophet ﷺ talking without loudspeaker, without your mobile and things. It was known the Prophet ﷺ was able to far reach, with his voice. In Hunayn also he used his uncle Abbas, because he also have very loud voice and far-reaching voice. But he himself used his voice. He stood up and he started calling, rallying the army. أنا النبي لا كذب أنا ابن عبد المطلب. He had no shadow. He had no shadow. Documented by Sahaba. A lot of Sahaba say never had shadow. And when you look into how is it, and the Sahaba heard the Prophet ﷺ making dua to Allah Azza wa Jal, وَجْعَلْنِي نُورًا, make me a light. If you are a light, you wouldn't have a shadow. If you take a candle, there will be no shadow. The bottom of the candle, but around the candle will be no shadow. The candle here will give, the pen will have a shadow, but the candle will not. It's light all round. So, وفي الصحيحين وغيرهما أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يدعو بهذا الدعاء in Bukhari and Muslim. اللهم اجعل في قلبي نورا, make light in my heart. واجعل في بصري نورا, light in my vision. And في سمعي نورا, light in my hearing. And on my right, nur, light on my right, and right on my left, and right above me, and right below me, and right in front of me, and right behind me. How will he have shadow? How will he have shadow? And we know Allah will accept the dua of the Prophet. When he make dua, Allah will accept you. Never heard that the Prophet ﷺ his dua was rejected. Even Zakaria said, وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. He said, I've never been let down when I asked you. So I want a child now. When he prayed for a child, he said, وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. I've never been let down by you. I always, whatever I asked, you gave me. So the Prophet ﷺ was himself light. So the light will not come and leave him with a shadow behind him. But obviously this is commented by the Sahaba who saw him. It's not a religious, like, if you say, oh, haram, where is the hadith sahih? It's the hadith sahih, it's conclusion of his dua. But it's not like he's talking about the pillars of Islam or pillars of Salah or pillars of Hajj. That's a character he was given. The Prophet ﷺ had a special character One of them that he had no shadow. Some brothers say that, I know in some mosques here in Birmingham, they say he's the light himself. He's light. Yes, he's a light in a metaphoric way. He's enlightened our way. We know what's right, what's wrong, what's harmful to us, to our family, to our children. But you can't come and say he is not flesh and blood. He is. And he used to see behind him. Whether in Jannah we will see behind us or not, we don't know. But the Prophet ﷺ said, أتم الصفوف فإني أراكم خلف ظهري. Straighten your lines because I see you from behind. He was walking in Kaaba after he conquered Mecca, and one of the unbelievers at that time was hiding a knife, and he wanted to stab the Prophet ﷺ, and he saw him from back, saw him from behind. So he turned and said, "What are you about up to? What are you trying to do?" He said, "Oh no, nothing. I'm blessing Allah, O Messenger of Allah." So the Prophet ﷺ put his hand on his heart, and he made dua for him. And he said, before he touched me, he was the most hated person to me in the dunya, in this earth. And after he put his hand on my heart, he became the most loved person to me on the face of the earth. But the Prophet saw him from behind. And this is hadith sahih, obviously, in Sahih Muslim. So that's a character which obviously, um, it's a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal, but give it a gift before its time. You don't have to wait to go to Jannah. I'll give it to you now. We all wish that this happened to us. We don't need to eat, don't need to sleep. If you don't sleep for 6 days, you die. Start having hallucinations, become paranoid, become very aggressive and things. When I went to one of the camp in Jordan to see the Syrian refugees with post-traumatic stress disorder, I came to the head of the camp and I said, I need to see these people. He said, no, we don't have mentally ill here. I said, do you have people who actually have difficulty sleeping? They get angry and they get cross, they're not eating. He said, yes, I have many of them. I said, please, I want to see. They can't sleep. When they can't sleep, they become aggressive. They become very anxious. They become very irritable. They become, there's a lot of symptoms there. So um, the Prophet ﷺ didn't have these symptoms. And he was not sleeping. And, and now back down to earth, he said, so a woman came, knocked on the door. He saw her and she was terrified because he has haiba. When you see the Prophet ﷺ, he fills you with feeling of might. I don't know if you have seen a king or a president in your life. I've seen our president Hafez Assad when I was in Syria, and the people have automatically they clap for him whether they hate him or love him. But like they get haiba to people, and the Prophet ﷺ had haiba that he's so honored man. He's so respected person. When you see him, you like get like the face shock, and then you love him next to it straight away. When he was reading in Mecca, فمن هذا الحديث أنتم تعجبون وتضحكون ولا تبكون وأنتم سامدون فاسجدوا لله وعبدون. All people in Mecca made sujood. So the people in Habasha, they thought, oh, Mecca became Muslim and they came back. So the news, the incident was so massive and mighty that he was reading the Quran, reading towards the end of Surah Al-Waqi'ah, is it? Najm, sorry. The end of Surah Al-Najm, and they all made sujood. Even Abu Lahab couldn't make sujood. He took, Ubay ibn Khalaf took some sand and he put it on his forehead. And that's haiba of the Prophet ﷺ. So the woman became terrified and said, hold on, هون عليك فإني لست بملك إنما أنا ابن امرأة كانت تأكل القديد أو تأكل القديد. There's another narration تأكل امرأة من مكة كانت تأكل القديد أو تأكل القديد في مكة. So hold on, I'm just a man. I'm not a king. I'm just the son of a woman who wants to eat the dried meat. You know Tashriq, أيام التشريق. Why they called أيام التشريق in Hajj? Sorry? Dry the meat. Yeah. because they dry the meat in the east. They put them with the heat and the sun. The sun comes from the east, and they dry them because they slaughter the sacrifices, the udhiyah, and they can't eat all the meat, so they cut it into slices and they dry it and qadid, and that will be stored for weeks and months. And I said, hold on, I'm son of a woman who used to eat that dried meat in Mecca. So don't be. So that's human. That's a human. He's just lowering that, fear or um, and he is like we said, I'm human like you. إنما أنا بشر مثلكم. Brother mentioned it in the Surah Al-Kahf. And here in the Hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said he forgot to during the Salah. قالوا صليت خمسا. The first said they asked him Abu Yadain. He asked him, one of the Sahaba called Abu Yadain. Um, and he asked him, Salah being increased or you forgot? And he said neither of these two. Then he asked the Sahaba and said yes, you prayed five. And then he said, make sujood. And he said, I'm a human like you, I forget like you, and um, ansa kama tansun, I forget like you forget, and he made sujood. So I think there's another hadith when he prayed less, and he made uh, the extra rak'ah, and he made sujood as well,
I
and
think he,
that's Abu Yadain.
yeah, I think he went to his uh, the Hujra, and the Sahaba all stayed because they thought that they couldn't say to him that you have only read third. And then he saw that they haven't left the mosque, and he came back and said, "Why are you still waiting?" And then they asked him, "You have just
Yeah,
said
that's the
third."
third one. I haven't
Yeah.
heard of.
And then
There's the
he
one
did.
Abu Yadain. He said قصرت الصلاة من السيد. He said none of them.
Yeah.
No. So, so yes, back because Allah Azza wa Jal, part of His life, Allah Azza wa Jal wants to show what you will get when you are in Jannah. In fact, all these I mentioned, they are characters of people in Jannah already. But you have now the Prophet ﷺ among you, and he is acting like if he is in Jannah, doesn't need to eat or drink, he smells perfume, he's very strong, he has a lot of special power and ability. This, but when 60 became, banned him from marriage and things, and then he became ill. In another way, he is alive. He never died because he died as a martyr from the poison of the Jewish lady who poisoned him. And Allah Azza wa said, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٌ بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. Don't think those who were killed for the sake of Allah, they are dead. They are alive with their Lord giving sustenance. With their Lord, obviously, not on earth. So, if you could say, yes, he's living, still exists. Like Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, still alive, will come back. When the Prophet met the prophets, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he met Ibrahim, Ismail, Ishaq, all the prophets, Allah Azza wa said about meeting Musa, ولا لا تكن في مرية من لقائه وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل. And when you saw him, it was true vision. You saw Allah Azza wa Jal. We're talking on Friday, on Sunday to the students that how you should how polite you should be with Allah Azza wa Jal. Should be polite, respectful, and things, but it doesn't harm to negotiate with Allah Azza wa Jal, and that's what happened with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was given 50 times prayer, you have to pray 50 times, and he came down, and Musa said, no, no, go and negotiate, get it down, getting less until it became 5. So this hadith, I like you. And the other one, which I mentioned earlier, لا يحل لك النساء من بعد ولا أن تبدل بهن من أزواج ولو أعجبك حسنهن إلا ما ملكت يمينك وكان الله على كل شيء رقيبا. So it is not lawful for you to marry more women after this, nor to change them for other wives, even though their beauty attracts you, except any the right hand should possess. And Allah does watch over all things. So he was treated here less than us, not because he's less, deserve less, but Allah knows what's best for His Prophet. Allah has been guiding His Prophet. So in a way, yes, he was given permission to marry more than four. In another way, there were times when he's getting even less than us. If he divorced all his wives, he wouldn't be able to marry new one at all. He would become, bachelor again. So the whole lesson is actually remember the Prophet ﷺ, and remember that if you are with Allah Azza wa Jal as the Prophet was, you will get a lot of privilege. And they call it in Muslim scholars, they call it karamat. If you are close to Allah Azza wa Jal, in the Hadith Qudsi, um, uh, وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي بِأَحَبَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُهُ عَلَيْهِ. My servant will not get closer to me by doing more than the fard I oblige him to do. And if we carry on doing nawafil, وَمَا زَالَ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبُّهُ. He will do nawafil. The Prophet ﷺ used to stand praying at night until his legs swollen from the gravity, all the liquid goes down because he's standing for 3-4 hours. When we see patients who have swollen legs, we say, put your legs up. But if you're engineering that because you're standing in salah, so وما زال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه. You do a lot of nawafil. Nawafil not only praying, or praying one of them, fasting, giving charity, serving for the sake of Allah, helping people, educating people, helping other, sufferers and things, and until Allah loves you. When He loves you, you will get these things. You will get karama. كنت عينه بي يبصر, كنت سمعه بي يسمع, كنت يده بي يبطش, كنت رجله بي يمشي. So I will be his eyes, by me he sees, his ears, by me he hears. So you see opportunity, you see uh, harms, and you avoid, and you see evil people, you avoid them as well, and you see opportunities, you see chances, you hear of things, and his hand by me he hit. As many people try to um, put a nail in the wall and they crush their fingers and break the wall and make a hole bigger. And there's people who could just like this, repair things, and subhanallah. And his leg by me, he walked. وإن استعاني لعن وإن أنه what's the right? You are playing with your mobile. You're not allowed to play with your mobile. Um, استعانني لأعيذنه. Um, so you will be Allah. If you ask Him for help, He will straight away help you. So if you go out of here with one short message, that you don't have to wait till you go to Jannah. Allah will make your life here part of Jannah. And inshallah, when we die, the righteous one his grave will be part of Jannah. القبر إما روضة من رياض الجنة أو حفرة من حفر النار. I'll stop here if you want to make any comments, inshallah, and or have something else to add. And then we say salah on the Prophet. Any question you have? Any addition? So you got the message? It's not like he's born in Jannah and came here. No, he's born in Mecca. That's the beauty. Born in Mecca, but given the privilege of Jannah. A privilege beyond belief. Ali ibn Abi Talib, I've sent this. This is why I asked Talha if he read it, and I sent it to the group, my family's group, and one of them said that Ali ibn Abi Talib married after Fatima died. He married 4 wives, and his wife said to him, Ali ibn Abi Talib took the door of Khaybar, ripped it off, and opened the door and crushed Khaybar. If you go and rip that door, which is like, Umayyad Mosque door, which is 3 meters high, I will allow you to marry a second wife. So you need to be with that characters. So subhanAllah, I mean, most of the Sahaba had 3 or 4 wives. And do they deserve? If they don't, Allah wouldn't allow them. They deserve. So, but do we deserve? Probably not. Probably one is too much for us. So that was a bit of negotiation on WhatsApp. Any more questions? Um, okay, let's do Salah al Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam together, inshallah. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد عدد خلقك ورضا نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك كلما ذكرك الذاكرون وغفل عن ذكرك الغافلون لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما الله عز وجل make our meeting blessed and protect us after leaving here أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر الحمد لله رب العالمين. Actually, I had a box of sweet. My wife asked me to bring it here, and Allah, Bashar human forgot it. So she phoned me when I was arriving here, and I don't have time to go and collect it. So, brother Ahmad Riza brought you chocolate, so have one on the way. It's sad that we usually have a very, very big gathering usually, and a lot of food will be on the table, and we must have done something wrong that Allah deprived us from this. But inshallah, we'll come soon. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. We'll see you